Hello, this is Mel Thompson, and this is a podcast and a series of podcasts about political risk. Today I'll be discussing the uncertainty in South Korea regarding Prime Minister and the presidency. The current ongoing saga of President Park Geun-hye has only gotten worse with these particular revelations that have come out about her undefined relationship with Choi Soon-sil. These are now days where we are looking at potential for money laundering charges to be brought and possibly fraud. President Park has lost all the moral high ground to the point where she can't even appoint a ceremonial figure to her administration. She wanted to appoint a person to the position that is largely ceremonial within her cabinet, and the prospect of Kim Boing Jun being approved by the National Assembly, which is controlled by the opposition party, was slim to none. So she basically gave up. President Park said, "This is not going to happen, and I'm just going to not even try. I'm just going to give up, even though this position has absolutely no power." When you do that, there is something really coming down the road that is very, very detrimental. Now, if you look at the overall prospect of the lack of wherewithal, and then couple that with the fact that President Park is now giving up certain types of duties or agreeing to give up certain types of duties to South Korea's prime minister under a new agreement that will allow the prime minister to control the cabinet, you are really in uncharted territory. The overall stupidity of President Park's action as to giving up power, as to being involved with this person, Choi Soon-sil, in the first place, and not somehow divulging it or being very cautious with that relationship is unspeakable. It's unbelievable. A lack of separation between the legislative and the executive branches in South Korea is also unspeakable and unbelievable. And we are now headed down that path. President Park is giving up power to the legislature that presidents of South Korea have always had. And now you're seeing a real mixing of power that really won't have a check or balance. And this is crucial since the successful policies that make FDI work in South Korea requires a keen knowledge of who the players are. And you really can't tell who the players are if everything is all jumbled together. The executive branch and the legislative branch seem to be moving down a road where they're going to be within the same recipe. The Park cabinet was not seen as a brash group of people acting as populists, but the overall prime minister role that would have been ceremonial is now going to be tied somehow to the legislative branch because the power vested in the president's office that she is giving up is probably going to be bestowed upon that ceremonial post of prime minister. And that will be the cover, if you will, the conduit between the legislative branch and the executive. Now, that is my opinion. That is somewhat of the only logical way this could possibly go. So to recap this, she wanted to appoint a ceremonial prime minister, which is basically what they are in South Korea. The person she chose couldn't possibly get accepted because of her own scandals, President Park's scandals. So she said, forget it. I'm not even going to appoint this person. I'm going to withdraw this appointment. As a matter of fact, you can have other powers. And now the legislature has the power to appoint the prime minister, the ceremonial position with no power, and take on other duties. And where do you think those duties are going to be dropped? Right in the lap of the ceremonial person who all of a sudden is not going to be so ceremonial anymore and will be sitting right in her cabinet. There is now a major police investigation of private companies tied to her friend, Park's friend, Choi Soon-sil. And this is going to lead back to Park, possibly. Quite possibly. And if it doesn't, she's still damaged goods. This is not going to be a swift resignation, probably. It is going to take time. The civil unrest that could occur and is already occurring is a direct and outward movement that shows frustration among the good people of South Korea. And it does not help foreign direct investors to make a logical, straightforward decision about long-term movement within the economic markets of that country. nor should it. Because right now you really don't know. You see, if you protest, it's democracy. They're an ally of the United States. You understand all this. It's stable, even though they got North Korea as an antagonist. Nothing's really going to happen. We all know that. But the bottom line is this is a little bit different. This is a political scandal that is really bringing people out in the streets. And then there's all of this horse trading within the government. It is a very, very unsettled period in South Korea. And strongly would I advise anybody looking into FDI expansion to think twice. Because right now, you're not even sure if you're going to be able to keep what you have. This has been Mel Thompson.